part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Welcome back, everybody, to Podcast 616, the official podcast of Earth 616. I'm your host, Damon Royster, and today, Lord have mercy, we're doing it. We are going to tackle the juggernaut herself, Spider-Man 2, a.k.a. Spider-Man No More. Joining me today to take on this behemoth of a project are two foolish fools who thought, did we think we could do this? They're brave. I think our eyes are bigger than our stomachs, but we're going to try. I'm a fool as well. Also, my dear friends, in addition to being fools, please help me welcome our first guest. They are a writer in the Los Angeles area. They live on a mountain. They're a wonderful cat father. Please welcome to your ears, Johnny Alvarez. Hi, Johnny.
Hey, hi, Damon. How's it going? Do I live on a mountain? I classify it as a cliff, I think.
It's literally called Mount Washington.
It's a misnomer.
Okay, fine. Did you enjoy Spider-Man 2?
You know, it's so funny when you asked me to do this podcast, I was really nervous you were going to make me watch something that I hate, but this was actually one of my favorite movies growing up. So this was right up my alley. I love this movie quite a bit.
A bit. It's a feast for the ears and eyes. We also have another guest. This next podcast guest, I gave birth to him. I gave everything to him. He copied me endlessly. I got an improv team. He gets on an improv team. I go to Northern Illinois University. He goes to Northern Illinois University. He has a baby. I moved to LA. You know, it's just shot for shot. Everything I do, he does. Please welcome to your ears. It's Miles Potter.
Hello. I'm now hosting this podcast as well. This is now my podcast. So thank you so much.
Mutiny.
No, I'm excited. This is great.
Famously, Miles and I have an ongoing argument about Marvel and another comic property. But Miles, did you enjoy Spider-Man 2?
I did enjoy Spider-Man 2. It's been a long time since I had seen it, so I didn't remember which one it was, but I was glad it was this one. I thought I had a lot of fun.
I have to have another podcast today about a different Spider-Man movie, and it's gonna be a little different, than this one. But Spider-Man 2, okay, Johnny Alvarez, I'm going to come to you. What makes this movie memorable to you? Like, why? You said you love it. Why do you love it?
I mean, rewatching it as an adult, I don't remember it being so hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many really silly gags, and J.K. Simmons' little, yeah, I don't know. It just cracked me up, and the visual effects are really, really solid. I was really freaked out. I forgot about the surgery scene. That really, I actually watched it this morning, and it really made my tummy hurt.
I wanted to say, because I didn't get to say this for the Spider-Man 1 podcast, but in terms of the visual effects, I think it's so cool that from these movies, there's just this agreed upon way that we decided to watch Spider-Man, web sling through the city. I think through all the Spider-Men, my good friends Toby, Andrew, and Tom, they all swing the same way. So it's so cool to go back to see where that originated, and where it's this is how Spider-Man looks visually, taking him off of the comic book page onto the screen. Miles Potter, I wanted to go to you. You strike me as very Peter Parker in nature. Okay. Am I correct in saying that about you?
Yeah. I would say that. I think very in the way that he's naive, nerdy, and is always not sure what's going on around him. I feel that similar energy.
Yes. So in the opening shots of this movie, we get Peter Parker really sucking at life. And Miles, did you feel like that was too much, or do you feel like it was enough to get you to be on Peter's side again?
Yeah, I mean, I always feel like I'm on Peter's side, but I think similar to Johnny, when watching this as an adult was so different, because as a kid you're at least I was just do better, just fix your stuff. And now as an adult you're it's hard to do 3 things fully. So yeah, I really, really felt for him when he's trying to be Spider-Man, find his love in MJ, and go to college and pay rent. He's got like 4 things, and it's just so hard to do all of those things well, and he's just like barely missing on all of them, and it's just like momentum is downward. So that this watching it this time hurt a lot more than watching it as a child. Like, he's a superhero, he'll be great, and I mean, he does, but man, did it hurt watching him now.
It really made me sympathetic for a pre-Google Calendar era. I don't know. I could 2 jobs.
Yeah.
3 jobs, really.
Yeah.
School.
Yeah. 3 years of school. And like, Johnny, have you been to New York ever?
Yeah, I've been twice.
Is it a land where there's just constant crime all over? That's the one thing I noticed. There's always something happening.
The part of the movie that made me cackle so hard is I love the Daily Bugle spinning covers, and the one that's like crime rates up, and then just has a very arbitrary like pie graph going towards the sky.
That confused me, that headline, because it said that when Spider-Man's gone, crime went up, but I'm like, crime was constantly happening. Like, maybe crime's not being prevented, but crime seemed to always happen in this movie.
Yeah, maybe I'm just naive, but it amazes me that in every like superhero thing, there's just like constant, unending crime for them to do stuff about. Yeah.
But it's also a great way to introduce your movie. So famously, my birthday is in 5 days. I would never forget my birthday, but Peter is going so hard, he forgot everything. Miles, how did you enjoy this pitiful birthday party with Aunt May, MJ, and Harry?
Yeah, I remember when I was watching it, like the first thing that struck me is this is like a year after high school, right? And I mean, Harry and him were friends, but I maybe I'll have to rewatch the first movie, but it surprised me like that they were at his birthday, because he was such a nerd in high school, or like I didn't know how close they were. So it surprised me that like MJ, who was super popular in high school, and I don't know, maybe their relationship just went so fast in that year or 2 years, whatever it was. But it surprised me that who was there, and then it was just so rough and so thick with thick with the tension of like him and Harry. You get that quick little thing like, how's your friend? And you're like, oh shit, I forgot about that. So that was great. And then MJ is like not looking at him, trying not to look at him. So it was tense, this sad little birthday.
Oh yeah. Absolutely zero friends. Peter Parker is truly a dog in the streets. Everyone hates him. He gets fired by Austin Monby. And did we recognize Emily Deschanel as the woman who got pieces?
Yeah.
The cameos. Joel McHale as the loan officer. Vanessa Ferlito as the best friend in the play.
Oh, yes. She was in Death Proof.
Death Proof. She's a legend. She's an underrated legend.
And it's so funny, like, to us they're cameos now, but I feel like at the time this was like their first big roles they were getting.
Well, okay, so what really blew my mind, I must have missed it, but Elizabeth Banks not in the opening credits? I swear to God, I didn't see her name.
She's not in the opening credits for this one.
Why?
I don't think she was that big of a name. I don't think she was Elizabeth Banks. I think she was just this woman who was cast as Penny in the Daily Bugle.
So crazy to me. She looks amazing in a pitch black bob.
Oh yeah, it didn't work for me. But then now that I've seen Ant-Man and Evangeline Lilly from the TV show Lost, wink. For the TV show Lost, she had a similar bob, and I was like, okay, Bob's your uncle. Did we laugh? Okay, audience, they are dying at that joke. They can't get. Miles gave me his classic shirt. That means he loves it. Johnny Alvarez, I want to go to you because I want to talk to you about love.
Oh boy!
Specifically, the love between Peter and MJ. How do you buy it? Are you liking it? Do you want some more of it?
Yeah, I do want some more of it. I think that on paper it is fairly. It doesn't really work, but my queen Kirsten Dunst obviously sells it. I have a Kirsten tattoo, so I'm being paid to say that. But
I'm so sorry.
some of her
You have a Kirsten Dunst tattoo?
ish. I mean, it's her character in Virgin Suicides, but yeah.
Wow.
Sorry, this is not a visual medium. I'm showing it to the screen.
It's
That means
absolutely
nothing.
not. But everyone, if you know Virgin Suicides, there's a reference on Johnny's forearm. Johnny, let's keep going into this Kirsten Dunst territory. Celebrate your
Yeah.
queen. Would you go
Oh my
see
God.
her in The Importance of Being Earnest?
I would be her porn star husband in the front row for every single showing. Her porn star astronaut husband, fiance.
That actor. So shout out to all my Vampire Diary friends, because we know that is Elijah from the Vampire Diaries.
Oh.
And also shout out to my Virgin River heads, because we also know that is Mel's dead husband from Virgin River.
Wow.
I love trash. But sorry, I interrupted you, Johnny. Kirsten Dunst, what is it about her that works for you in this movie?
I mean, she famously, women were not given a lot of great stuff to do in these types of films, and probably still aren't. But every moment she's on screen, she commands attention, and she's so like effortlessly lovable, and she's like the ultimate ingenue to me. And in particular, that coffee shop scene I think is so iconic with her little matching bonnet dress situation, and and then of course, like I was watching towards the end when she's like chained up, and I was like, is that going to be my Halloween costume? Like literally with the chains and the wet red hair, like, and that dress. There's something about that dress is so vivid for me. And then her running in her wedding dress. It's the little like canted angle with the saw.
Oh my God. That is such, I feel like that's such an iconic moment, the wedding dress run, that I feel like is rarely duplicated. Nobody ever tries to touch that one.
It feels lifted from a completely different film, and yet somehow fits perfectly. Yeah, I just think Kirsten is I do think her character is written a little bit poorly, but she sticks the landing every time.
So here's my thing with Mary Jane Watson in the Spider-Man Sam Raimi movies. I feel like this was a role that Zooey Deschanel, if she had gotten it, we'd get New Girl. But because it was given to Kirsten Dunst, she's like, no, I'm gonna do a scene study on this. I'm gonna dig the fuck in.
That's so fucking right. Right.
I just thought about that on my couch. So we got Kirsten Dunst, Miles Potter. I know why Miles is here. So Miles is salivating. Talk to me about Doc Ock, Dr. Octopus, Alfred Molina.
Daddy.
Yeah.
How Daddy Octopus.
How's Daddy?
How's Daddy doing, Miles? Talk to us about Daddy.
I think he steals this movie. I think
like a crook.
Anytime you're like cast as the villain in these things, like obviously you're going to see a lot of these characters throughout all of them. Like you see Tobey Maguire in all of them, you see Kirsten Dunst, you see James Franco. But I think whenever you're casting the villain as these, it's kind of like you're one shot, and then that's it. Like do great and then out. And I think it's he steals this movie, and I think that's evidence of that is that like they obviously bring back this character in a recent Spider-Man movie, which I will not discuss. But he's a Shakespearian actor for years and years and years, and I think it's in a superhero movies are Shakespearian in their own way, high drama, death, revenge, all that, and I think it just lends itself so well. Superhero movies specifically lend themselves so well to Shakespearean actors. You really see them take that on, and that's why I think whenever you have an actor like that take on a character like this, it just knocks it out of the park. I think Alfred Molina is a perfect example of that. He just does so well in a character that can easily, I mean, his name is Otto Octavius. He gets more arms. It could be easily ridiculous, and sometimes Shakespeare stuff is as well. And I think you need to be able to somehow make that truthful and huge, and he does it in stride. So all praise to him. I think he's the star of this movie. Period.
Ooh.
Bold claim.
Yeah.
Damn, slam the mic down. Absolutely. I feel like I totally I agree with everything you just said. I'm actually mad you said all of that because I was probably going to go there as well. But yes,
I knew you were going to say it,
Miles is
so I
right.
said it first because, again, this is my podcast.
Why am I disappearing?
David, no!
No. I feel like we have to give credit to the X-Men franchise for doing this first, of casting like prestigious Shakespearean actors as both the hero and villain. But I feel like this one was the first movie to do it again and to cement the idea that you need to cast a well-respected older actor as your villain.
Yeah.
And it just gives it's giving gravitas. It's giving gravitas to the whole thing.
I know we're not going to talk about X2, but Brian Cox is like the pinnacle. Is he X2 or X1?
He's X2. You were right.
Whew. Yeah, that character is will never escape me. So chilling. So chilling.
Don't open the box into Succession because I will.
Oh. Yeah, I actually have to agree with you, Miles, about Alfred. I think he's always been one of my favorite actors, and I think what's so funny about this role is he's by himself a lot of the time, and it's having to do like Gollum acting where he's like looking over his shoulder and talking to himself, and
yeah, like that first like. That reminds me of a time when I was watching the movie and like one of his first monologues. I mean, monologues in film are so weird because like not many people I know will monologue in real life. So it's like to make that truthful is so weird, and I think he did it so well. It's like the scene where he's like being talked to by his whatever they're called,
Tentacles.
His tentacles. Thank you. And yeah, it's just a beautiful monologue that it doesn't take you out of it at all. And it caught me off guard. I was like, that was great. And of course it was great.
I totally forgot that his presentation, his demonstration was not the tentacles. Like that was just like, yeah, I always have these.
Okay. Can we talk about that?
Please. Yes.
Yeah.
I thought the whole thing was like, oh, the tentacles go wrong. But no. He's like, I'm going to make this mini sun. And I need, obviously, these 4 mechanical tentacles to do it. Yeah. There's no other way.
Where did they come from? Everyone's just standing there. And he's like, yeah, it's totally normal that there are needles going into my back.
Oh my
God. Did you see that moment? Also, we got to shout out Sam Raimi, the director, with that moment when the needles go into his spine and the whole crowd goes, ooh.
Yeah.
Like they all shudder and guess like, love that scene. Shout out to Daniel Dae Kim. He was there.
What? Like, come on.
I think he's like soon to be on because this is 2004 and Lost premiered in 2004. So like he's well on his way to an island. Before we take a break, I just want to talk about Sam Raimi, the director, because I think he did such a great job. And something, shout out to my Marvel nerd heads, because I assume that's why you're listening. This is a Marvel podcast, but I think after watching like Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness, I just appreciate how Sam Raimi has this like locked in way he views New York City, because the New York in Multiverse of Madness, like specifically the scene where the giant eyeball is terrorizing the city, with this New York in SpiderMan 1, 2, and unfortunately 3, he just has like a very consistent vision that I think he really hits on. And I guess what I'm saying is Sam Raimi, he's a good director. That's my hot take.
The seamless navigation of like comedy and horror, and it still being like a blockbuster and packageable and somehow PG-13 is very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like that's a good point, because I feel like there's a lot of like with like Get Out and stuff like that. There's a lot of like comedy horror being put together, and it feels like it's a new thing, but it's not. And I think they fit together so nicely. I don't know. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
That's not a new thing, but it maybe feels new.
And speaking of things that fit together nicely, how about a nice break? That fits together nicely. Seamless transition. We're going to take a break. You listen to these commercials, and when we come back, we're going to talk about everyone's favorite Aunt May and and Harry Styles.
Legend.
So we'll be back with more Spider-Man 2. Keep it right here.
Hello, Brooks here with the Books with Brooks monthly book club podcast. Here's how Books with Brooks works. We read one book a month, and then we talk about it. classics like Stephen King's The Shining, debut novels like We Are the Brennans by Tracy Lang, and tons of other compelling, life-changing stories, one book and 1 month at a time. So come read along with us and then listen in.
Hi, my name is Sam Post, owner of Phenomenal CBD Store and PhenomenalCBD.com. That's like phenomenal, CBD.com. Tune in where we talk with experts about how the amazing hemp plant can make a difference for people's health and well-being from the Press Play Podcast Network.
Hey everyone, this is Don Mike Mendoza, the host of Producing While Asian. Join us in Season 2 for more conversations with actors, artists, producers, and more from Broadway, Hollywood, and beyond, every other Wednesday on the Press Play Podcast Network.
And we are back. Miles Potter, have you ever taken your old ass aunt to refinance her home? Which I want to point out, honestly, before I get to Miles, a couple things I want to say about Aunt May. First of all, I don't believe she's.
Can I answer that first question? No? Okay.
No.
Okay.
I think it's weird that she sounds so like mid-Atlantic, but lives in Queens. I'm like, did she just move there? Also,
Peter,
this is something Peter, you mischievous man. Yeah, that's Aunt May down on the corner. Also,
Aunt May's on the corner. What is she doing down there?
I don't know. She's in.
How
Queens.
desperate is she to get that loan?
Oh no.
No. I bet like the corner store. Oh no, she's working the corners. I'm gonna throw it back to Miles. You take your aunt to the bank?
Not often enough.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
I love this bank scene. I think this is just classic. Whereas like current Marvel movies, I think are trying to like hit like realism with like Sokovian Accords and like government procedures and stuff. That's nice. But this is just classic comic book. Dr. Octopus is robbing a bank and he took Aunt May hostage. Oh no.
Yeah.
Johnny, how captivated were you with this like on the side building adventure?
Oh, it was extremely stressful. And I love, I mean, there's two things I feel compelled to discuss. Number one of which being, why is the bank vault full of like gold doubloons? Is that a thing in 2004? Like, did people keep their wealth in gold coins still?
Yeah, that was a W. Bush mandate.
A Bush era. It was Kelly Clarkson and gold doubloons back then.
That's what he liked. That was my George W. Bush. It's not great. It used to be good.
That was like so bemusing to me. And then the I loved the very like paternalistic, like, yeah, the little old lady's gonna get a punch in kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the little thing at the end where she's like, she's like, we?
What do you mean, we?
Peter.
Peter. Oh, all in good time, my friends. But I will say this is a very nice. I guess they were trying to be cute. Like, this is a reference to the first SpiderMan movie where he rescued Kirsten Dunst when she was in her problematic kimono, and swooped her through the city. And then this one, he swoops old Aunt May around the town. And then we, of course, seamlessly slip into, of course, the NASA gala, which I think this is a good time. I feel like we've been talking for at least a half an hour. What a great time to start talking about Harry Osborn, James Franco. Miles Potter, how much of a Francophile were you before this movie, and are you currently a Francophile now?
I would not call myself a Francophile now. I think when this movie came out, I probably also didn't care about him. But I know there was some time, I forget what the movie was, but I was like, oh, he's good and seems like a nice guy. And I've been proven wrong.
Every step of the way.
A few times. So I think to go back to the NASA gala, I remember seeing him getting drunk and just being a shit. And I was like, why is he here? I mean, obviously for the story, I get it. But like, what would bring him to this gala? Like, this gala is for...
Hey, yeah.
It's for porno guy, right?
The astronaut who looks like a porno guy, yes.
Yes. It's for the astronaut. I'm pretty sure that's what the gala is for. So it makes sense why, like, Peter shouldn't even be there, really, but he's there to take pictures. MJ is only there because she's dating Porno Man. It's like everyone else makes sense to be there except Harry. I mean, story-wise, we need him there, but it didn't make sense to me that he was there just at the bar getting wasted.
I'm going to take it a step further. Harry's whole presence in this movie makes zero sense.
Yeah.
He was a terrible student, and now he runs his father's science company. Does he have business or science aptitude? Like, why is he running a full corporation when he can't be more than 25 years old? What are we doing?
Him in his like pinstripe suit and his Oakley sunglasses, just being like, "You fellas take it from here. I got a board meeting.
I know it's gonna be the future of science.
I'll see you in Sweden."
See you in Sweden. But all that being said, I think going back to your point, Miles, about this being Shakespearean, I mean, the fucking dagger by the couch, scene.
Yeah.
It's like, rips off the mask. My best friend. Like, it's his story purpose is very Shakespearean, and I think necessary for the arc of the thing. But Harry Osborn is such a little weenus, I want to say. Is that fair to say?
Sure.
A full ass.
Course, yeah.
He's a full ass weenus. I mean, my God. I said this in the last podcast. I think it's cool that he goes through this unconscious thing where like he hated his father and his father hated him. And then when his father died, he's like, I will avenge him. No one loved me more than Daddy.
Alfred Molina?
No, the last Daddy. Willem Dafoe. Johnny Alvarez, does Harry Osborn work at all for you? Like, are you captivated? Do you come here for the Harry story?
It's hard to say, because if it was any other actor, I would probably have an easier time co-signing on his involvement. However, I hope this is a safe space in saying that everything James Franco does makes my skin crawl. And it always has, even before certain news items came out. I remember him in Milk is just like, it kind of ruined the whole movie to me. And that's one of my favorite movies. He has bad Armie Hammer vibes. He always has. He's just a creep. And maybe that works for the character, but yeah, I don't understand.
But not for you.
Not for me, but also he's a vehicle to get Willem Dafoe back into the game. And Willem Dafoe is, I have to say, Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, dream threesome.
Avenge me. There's nothing goofier to me than someone screaming, avenge me. Like, Miles, when you inevitably request that your son kill the man who killed you, would you tell your young child to avenge you?
Of course, that's his purpose in life, is to, however I die, he has to, if it's whatever disease or person it is, it's his job to end that. So if I die cancer, he's gotta get rid of it. If I die, I don't know, pick a thing. It's his job. And on my deathbed, I will scream, avenge me. And he has to do the math about what it was. But yeah, that's the purpose of having a son.
Disclaimer to our audience, Miles Potter is a new father, and he has a little baby.
I have to say, Damon, I'm a little bit offended that you're not also asking me this question, as I also am a father.
About Reggie?
Yeah.
My cat? Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Would you task Reggie with avenging your untimely death?
Yeah, of course. He would never do it, but I would at least ask.
I think Reggie could do it. Beautiful. All right. I am barren. Okay, moving on. I feel like we...
Oh my God.
We can't... Whatever. It's fine. It's good enough for the... Is good enough for the Baroness. All right. I feel like we have to talk about the section of the movie that I just wrote in my notes, raindrops. So poor Peter Parker. This is what's crazy to me. Peter Parker is like, there's nonstop crime in New York City. It does not stop. He just fought Dr. Octopus, but he sees MJ, making out with this porn star / astronaut, and he's just gonna give it all up. Like, the world is in peril. There's a tentacled monster on the loose, and you're just like, yeah, I'm lonely and horny. No, thank you. Miles, would you give up like this?
Let me prompt something else before I throw myself into that. He also like is losing his powers, so he also feels like he can't Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think
he can't Spider-Man.
So he can't Spider-Man as well as he usually can Spider-Man, and then the love of his life is slipping away from him, and he had that moment in their backyards where there's maybe still something. So I think there's a pull from MJ. He also can't Spider-Man. So I think he's being pushed away from that and pulled from the other way. So I think, no, I would not quit like he fucking does. But I think it's harder to, it's easier to say I can't do this when you can't do it the way that he would like to.
Very true. Very true. I did forget he is shooting blanks. He's shooting web blanks.
He's wristing blanks.
How did you? I mean, this section of the movie, that montage. I remember laughing so hard the first time I watched it, and I think it's still funny now. Just the montage of him, like, raindrops keep falling on my head.
Oh, yeah.
And his life is seemingly all the better. I think I want to go to what happens next. When does the pie girl scene happen? Because that confuses me to no end. His neighbor, the neighbor, and they have pie together. Does that happen before he talks to Aunt May or after he talks to Aunt May?
I think it happens after he talks to Aunt May.
Okay, well, in that case, I would like to institute an acting challenge to my guests. As producer Michael knows, this is an acting challenge. So Peter Parker is down on his luck, and he gets this speech from Aunt May. And I would love for each of us to do our best. Rosemary Harris sang the line, "I believe there's a hero in all of us." An infamous line, if you remember the trailer to Spider-Man 2, as I do. It was huge. I want to go last. Of course. So
because how could we ever follow you?
Yeah.
Truly. I don't want to do that to you. So let's go to Johnny Alvarez first. It's the line, "I believe there's a hero in all of us," but said like your Aunt May, trying to rouse Peter Parker. So Johnny, please. And also feel free to improvise after that line.
Oh, sure. Okay. Peter, I believe there's a hero in all of us. You tell your friend Spider-Man that my apartment is on the Upper West Side, and I'll leave the door unlocked for him any night.
Johnny Alvarez said, "Aunt May is face down, ass up." I love, this is a family podcast. Johnny, that was beautiful. Thank you for the nuance. There's a little bit of love connection.
Yeah.
It's going to be terrible for Peter Parker to realize that his aunt is in love with his alter ego. Miles Potter, dare I say, the most trained actor on this Zoom call. I have to say.
Don't do that.
I mean, you keep telling me you're going to all these acting classes. So.
Damon, I went to Juilliard. Why are you saying that?
There you are.
Damn.
There you are.
Miles, whenever you're ready.
I believe there's a hero in all of us. Peter, you tell your friend Spider-Man he's got to pick it up. Because I believe in him. Uncle Ben would. Peter. Thank you.
That was beautiful.
Oh my God. Wow. Listeners, we truly saw a moment just then. Unreal. Wow. The way you dipped your glasses, incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that was a choice. That was a choice.
Yeah, and honestly, that's all acting is from what I understand.
Yes.
Okay, should I go? Or
Yeah,
I kind of want to go now.
You must.
Go ahead. Humiliate yourself, Damon.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be the first time. I believe there's a hero in all of us. Makes us strong. Gives us hope. All we can do is just stand up and have it come to us. Ben? Oh, no, wait. He's still dead. Scene. Thank you.
That was great. I thought you were going to start singing right away. That's what.
I thought you were going to sing "I Believe the Children of the Future."
That's just what Aunt May invokes in
or "We Are the World" or something.
Miles, we are the world. Okay, so here's how I want to run down. So I do love this movie, and honestly, I had this idea. I think the last few scenes in the third act are so good. So I just wrote what I would call the chapter titles to everything. I'm just going to throw out these titles, and then I want us to discuss. And I think we'll get what the scene is. So this one, this is this whole sequence of like, so it's like Octavius, Tyrion, Harry, Spider-Man, Peter, MJ. The whole plan of like, so I love the third act, but this is the most convoluted plan I've ever heard of. Dr. Octopus needs this Tyrion to create his fusion son. So he goes to Harry Osborn. Harry's like, I'll only give it to you if you give me Spider-Man. Doc Ock is like, how do I get Spider-Man? Harry's like, oh, go to Peter. So he goes to Peter, and Doc Ock's like, oh, I'll take Mary Jane. So his plan is to take Mary Jane so that Peter can find Spider-Man, so that Spider-Man can then be delivered to Harry, so Harry will give Doc Ock the Tyrium. Is that complex? Like, and I'm saying this, like, if you're a person who doesn't know Peter Parker is Spider-Man, this seems like a very convoluted plan.
Well, there's no reason for us to believe that Dr. Ock knows that Peter has a connection to Mary Jane, other than like, oh, he's at a coffee shop with her. Like,
yeah,
she could be his dog walker. Like, he doesn't know.
Yeah, he could be interviewing for a new roommate.
Yeah.
Like,
she was supposed to be the roommate.
How am I going to pay rent?
How am I going to pay rent? I need her. Okay, I'll get you.
Where would she live in that horrible, wretched apartment that doesn't even have its own bathroom?
Oh my God. Who knows? After that scene, I do want to just address, does anyone have, why was the pie scene in this movie with the pie girl? Why was pie girl here?
Pie girl. What's her name? Put some respect on her name. She was giving what needed to be gave.
What did she give you, Johnny?
She was giving doe-eyed. She was giving acting, Damon, if you've ever heard of it. She was given so little and like captivated. She captivated.
She was giving me discount Lisa Kudrow.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Miles,
visually?
I think visually I can see it. I don't know when. I'm trying to remember when that scene was placed, but I mean, based on what we talked about earlier, I think Peter needed a win somewhere and needed someone to be on his side or like make him feel like he had value. And I can't remember if that's placed exactly when we needed that, but that's what that scene did for me. Is like Peter was maybe found bottom and was like, hey, you need to know that you still have value. You're still great. You're still Spider-Man.
Yeah. I just looked up what that character's name is, and I have to share. Ursula Vola Dmirovna Ditkovna?
Ursula.
Ursula. And
Phoebe.
Her father's name is somehow just slightly different. Mr. Ditkovich. She's Ditkovna, and he's Ditkovich. What? I need to know what's going on there.
I don't know. I think for me, and this is where the infection of Spider-Man 3 starts to take over. If this had just been it's just like the special scene where he gets to have pie, great. She comes back in Spider-Man 3.
She sure does.
And it's not great. Okay. Anyway,
Magina Tova is the name of the actress. I'm probably saying that wrong, but she's a legend. Look at her beautiful.
Oh, she's gorgeous.
She's so pretty.
Gorgeous. I'm just saying, why is she here? Okay, producer Michael, this is probably going to go long because we've got a lot to talk about. Because the next thing I want to talk about is the train scene. What are you fucking kidding me? This is real superhero shit. He just fucking webs the buildings and
You know what I was
stops the
thinking?
train.
You know what I was thinking about during that scene is The Incredibles came out the same year, and there's so many similarities to the subway scene in particular, but also the character design of Dr. Octopus, as well as I forget what it's called in The Incredibles, the Omnidroid or whatever.
Yeah,
Has like almost the exact same arms. I'm very curious to know if there was some cross-pollination going on in the industry.
That's crazy. That was like, this is what robotic tentacles look like.
Yeah.
Amazing. Miles Potter, how did you feel about the slightly Christ-like treatment of Peter Parker?
Crowd surfing?
Yeah. That's a great scene. I think that's like bread and butter superhero movie when they do something like that. I love that scene. It does make me think, like, when you're a little kid watching any superhero movies, as I was like, everything's awesome. Yeah, break buildings, whatever. They gotta save them. And now when I watch movies, I'm like, that's a lot of damage that needs to be taken care of. By city workers and all that. Who's gonna do all that cleanup? So that was on my mind as well, as like buildings were being broken on the side. That was my only hang up. Besides that, these are the like superhero movie or like superhero fighting movies, whatever, and musicals are so similar if you just think that like, oh, the fight scene is the song. So like this train scene for me is the song. There's many songs in this movie, but this is a song. This is just action. Beautiful.
Miles, you're on fire today. Thank you so much. As are you, Johnny. Miles, this next scene I want to talk about, I call it the dagger and the golf ball. Miles, have you ever just been, up at night having a glass of something and a mechanical octopus drops a SpiderMan on your couch and you can't find your dagger? You can't find your dagger. Has this happened to you?
Well, I mean, figuratively, it's happened to me, but not literally. So I don't know. Remind me of the scene. Is this when he needs the tritium?
Yeah. So this is after the train, and Doc Ock spreads the car and punches out Spider-Man and wraps him up in barbed wire and then lays him down to Harry.
That's right. And Harry has the dagger over him. Yeah.
The family dagger that's just on the mantle. Oh, perfect.
Damon, do you have a family dagger?
Of course. I'm an American, like everyone else.
Of course. Yeah. What do I think about this scene? And then, he pulls the mask off and he sees it's Peter. He doesn't know what to do. Man, what did I think about this scene? I think this is all I feel like I can do is go back to like Shakespearian. This is like the perfect like revenge and family, just like huge things colliding. And it's, this makes me think of like, I forget where I talked about this in some class or something somewhere, but like to not try and solve the problem, but like to sit in the problem. And I think this is a perfect example of when he like holds the dagger, pulls the mask off, like we get to sit in that with him of like, this is his hate and his love sitting together and he doesn't know what to do. So we get to see that collide, which I think makes for good film or writing, whatever.
Yeah. I was going to go, Johnny Alvarez. I was going to ask you this question. Hello. Do you think the line, because there's that line where, Harry's trying to figure out like, why'd you kill my dad? What are you doing? And Peter just looks at Harry and says, there are bigger things happening than you and me. How does that line sit with you in 2022? Of like, your feelings don't matter right now.
I think it's, I don't know. There's a lot of like interesting platitudes in the writing of this script that just kind of like get us in and out of scenes as quickly as possible, which I think is really a really funny. It's a very 2000s era screenwriting technique to just like have the characters truncate their own conversation for the sake of perceived poetry, I guess.
Perceived poetry.
Perceived poetry, yeah.
Which is poetry in and of itself.
In and of itself.
The
I
phrase.
I think there's such a like inconsistency with Peter Parker, and like, is he smart? Is he stupid? Is he responsible? Is he irresponsible? Is he hot to other people? Is he not hot? Like, I can't figure it out. Is he a dweeb? Is he a sex symbol? Like, it's very confusing, and Toby doesn't make it easier.
Are we? I mean, we'll have this. We're going to have this conversation in a few minutes, and you'll let us know about your sex symbol feelings about Tobey Maguire. I'm very sure. Yeah, I don't know. This line, like, there are bigger things happening than you and me. It just, I don't know. It kind of hit me with a thud a little bit. I think you're right. It's very like early 2000s. This like, I am army of one. Like, yeah, we have a mission. I personally feel like we were all very broken post 9/11, but we didn't know how to process trauma, so we just became much more blunt creatures, which maybe that led to Donald Trump. Am I saying this on my podcast? Yes.
deep state theories.
Oh man.
Yeah. I think we didn't process our national grief, and then we became a hardened people. And that's why comedy was rough to watch. That's why there's so many things that you can't go back to, like Diversity Day on The Office. You know, just like Damon, said, there are bigger things happening than us.
Yeah. What a take. I'll have to ruminate on that. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, as you ruminate, let's head to Johnny's potential Halloween costume and a chapter I like to call Damsels in Chains. I don't know, you guys. I've watched all these Spider-Man movies in 2 weeks. Kirsten Dunst always gets kidnapped in every single one. Mm-hmm. I thought she got a reprieve in the third one, but she does get kidnapped there too. She gets taken a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's I mean, it's a bummer, but so often that's like the female in the movie or whatever is the plot device for the lead dude. I mean, there's so many movies like this, movie stories, wherever, where like that's the plot device that gets the guy to do the thing, and I don't think it's only a bad plot device when it's overdone and it undercuts actors and characters' ability to like be a full person. And I think that's unfortunately what it does too often. If there's another, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but if there's another like creative thing that could instead be the plot device rather than always the woman in the movie or play or whatever, I'm all for that. I think it's just overdone, and we're all just like, we see it from a mile away, and we're disappointed when it like this amazing actress just has to be that, and we're like, I think, like, give them things so they're like, oh yeah, no, they're a full person up until it, and then still at the end, like, no, that's why they're here.
Yeah,
right.
I think again, all credit goes to Kirsten and all the other women of that era who had to like take a very poorly written character and like make us care so much about them that them getting kidnapped is the ultimate highest stake, not only for the main character but also for us as an audience. And like, what I was thinking about while watching it is like this dichotomy of like the hero who's clearly very good at like bang, bang, zoom, zoom, save the world, but really bad at love. And then the woman is always excels at love and apparently is lacking in other areas is so interesting to me. And it seems to me that to be this very specific point of view of male screenwriters that women have a better, their strength is in relationships and their strength is in communicating and feeling love, which on paper isn't an insult. It is rather reductive and definitely not true. But again, Kirsten just brings like you just buy that she is like, her superpower is love. And maybe that's me like just being a fanatic for her, but there's something about her that I don't know. She just brings it.
She brings it. And I think you're absolutely right about screenwriters, because I think that's like a male screenwriter is like, well, I don't know about love, so I guess women, that's what I don't know. So I guess the woman in the movie must be great at it.
Yeah.
All right. We're at the climax. Like, anything you want to say about Doc Ock, you know, losing his, or I guess regaining his mental stability. Also, shout out to his wife who died. I did want to mention, I found it crazy that she was an English major who became a scientist now. I want to know more about that.
Yeah.
Her death scene is, I remember being so gutted by it as a kid, and like while watching it, I was like, I felt my heart racing leading up to it because it is so gutting. And I can't remember that actress's name, and she's only in the movie for a very short amount of time, but again, just like turns it out and does such a like convincing, heart-wrenching performance.
Yeah. Yeah. I recognize her face, and I didn't remember what, but like when I see it, like same when I saw her, I was like, oh yeah. And I think they do, like, this movie does such an up level, like the movie Up, they like break your heart in the first 5 minutes. Ooh. I feel like they're like love montage, and like just like 2-3 scenes, you're like, I love them, I love their love, they're super connected, and then we would rip her away, like up level heartbreaking, which is great. I mean, she obviously is a plot device for him to rip his heart out. So again, that's there, but doing it and just like introduce, see their love, take her away, like that montage, I feel like is just clean and nice. Like, oh yeah, now we buy in on him, on Daddy.
On Daddy. And look, if he's looking for love now that his wife is dead.
Yeah. I mean, I'm available. And I think it's like that love for his wife that Lee, because Spider-Man does the classic, oh, you got electrocuted. I would love to know what happened. I feel like so many superhero tropes, like things are resolved so much with someone getting electrocuted. I'm like, I feel like that's
drowning,
dangerous. Yeah. But so, and this was nice. Doc Ock, much like in Spider-Man No Way Home, you know, he breaks the spell of the tentacles is broken, and he's like, oh no, maybe building a giant sun in this dilapidated pier was a bad idea. And he makes the big hero sacrifice. Honestly, I think Dr. Octopus is the bigger hero in this movie than Spider-Man.
Oh my god, of course.
Yeah. I have a question, because I was always confused, even watching it again. Was the pier where it happened before? What is that why he went to the pier?
Miles, I have no idea why he went to the pier, because it happened at his lab, you know, when the glass broke. Are we saying no? Because that was definitely that was inland. There was no water around there, because afterwards with like the paramedics and everything, he just was roaming the streets and found this shack by the sea
and did a monologue in the shack.
What a perfect place for a science experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if that was lifted from the comics or not. I've never read, so
maybe.
It's like a production design wet dream, I think. It doesn't really serve a purpose, but
it looked beautiful.
Yeah.
So he does the big sacrifice. Spider-Man saves Mary Jane. She sees him out of the mask, and she's like, oh my god, that upside down kiss was with the man of my dreams. So she's like, jackpot. Miles Potter, the next chapter I want to talk about is what I call Goblin's Gifts. This is the Avenge Me scene. Are you into these scenes that set up future movies? Or do you find them annoying?
Yeah. No, I love them. I love things. I love, because I think movies have always been so, like, TV has always been, like, connected throughout the whole season and everything, and I think it's always been difficult, or it's never been done until, like, Marvel recently, connecting things through movies. Those are my favorite things, like little Easter eggs to different things, or little connectors to different movies or different characters. So like even the connection to the previous movie with the Green Goblin stuff, and like knowing forward that he becomes that. And I think it's little things for like comic nerds as well, when we know Harry Osborn is going to become the Hobgoblin, right? I think he's just also Green Goblin. Hobgoblin is another guy. Yeah. Okay, I'm a DC guy. So when those little like Easter egg things are there, I think that's awesome. It's like creating the connectors for a bigger universe, which we obviously eventually got 4 years after this movie it started, 2008, something like that.
2008 was when the first Iron Man movie came out. Yeah.
But no, I think those are beautiful.
Beautiful, great. Skipping right to the end, the last chapter of this movie I like to call Houston, we have a runaway bride. Thank you. Thank you. I thought it was good. How do we how do we feel about the ending? How do we feel about this like what's that movie? The Graduate type ending with like her leaving her wedding and then they have that final shot. Johnny Alvarez, how did you feel about that final shot of Kay Dunst?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, she's poor, like she gets the last shot, and that to me is so exciting. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's so funny that the thing of like, go get him, Tiger. Like, felt very much like they were deciding, they were at the club and deciding to open up their relationship. And she's like, yeah, go for it.
They spot someone across the bar and she's like, go get him.
Yeah.
Mama wants a third tonight. Go get him, Tiger. We get and also this is another thing. I love how every Spider-Man movie ends with him web slinging through the city. It's beautiful. This is a beautiful film. So that's how all the Spider-Man movies end. But we end our podcast with a little game I like to call Fuck, Marry, Kill. We have arrived at the final segment of this podcast. Fuck, Marry, Kill for the Spider-Man movies. I think we did this for Spider-Man 1, but I feel like the answers might have changed for Spider-Man 2. So we are going to do this again with Peter Parker, Mary Jane Watson, Harry Osborn. Fuck, Marry, Kill. I will go first to give my guests time to think. And I believe at this time, I'm still going to kill Harry Osborn. I'm so sorry. I don't like his hair. I hate his suits. His sunglasses make me nervous. He looks like a snowboarder from the video game SSX. Tricky, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
If you know, you know. And I think he's horribly I think he's running his father's company into the ground. And I think the only way I have to end the Osborn line, because as we saw, he has the goblin gene. So I'm killing Harry Osborn. I think I'm going to fuck Peter Parker. You know, for one night, I could do it. For one night, I could do it. Not forever, but for one night, I could do it. And I'm like, he's cute enough. And I'm going to marry Mary Jane. I just want to like talk to her about her acting career and let her know she's doing really well. That's the other thing. I hate how these movies like make her seem like she's like this dumpster actress. I'm like, you're starting on Broadway sometimes. That's great. Like, you're not going to do it consistently. Like, that's the gig, honey. So she needs my emotional support. And those are my choices. I'm going to go to Johnny. Who are your picks?
I mean, if it's the exact same, is it even worth saying?
I'll give my reasons, baby.
That's a good point. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely kill Harry. Couldn't imagine getting anywhere near him. I'm sure he smells like the worst aftershave from like a Dwayne Reed down the street. Just not a fan. Absolutely would fuck Tobey Maguire with the lights on. And feel really guilty about it afterwards.
Yeah. Just like he does about everything.
I just would want to see him make that face he made while he's trying to stop the train, but because of a different train, if you will. Mary Kirsten, obviously. I think I've said enough. I think I've said enough as it is about my love for her. I just think she'd be so fun to wake up next to every day, make coffee, talk about art.
She would love to talk about art with you. Miles Plopper.
Yeah, my answers are different. I would marry Mary Jane. She seems like the most exciting person to spend time with and be with. I think the better fuck would be Harry Osborn. I mean, he's the guy. He's the guy that you don't tell anybody that you fucked. Sure. You don't tell anybody. It would just be better. He doesn't care about you. Obviously, you don't care about him. It's just the one night fuck done. And I unfortunately, I think, have to kill Peter Parker,
our Lord and Savior Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think he just relationship-wise, we've talked about he doesn't have it. Doesn't have that emotional intelligence for it, and I don't think he'd be I think he'd be a solid fuck, but I think it's just going to be that more exciting night with Harry because I don't think he cares about me.
I'm learning a lot about you, Miles.
Yeah, this feels like classic Miles. Beautiful. You know what? We all honestly, those were, even though me and Johnny had the same answers, it felt different. And you know what? We're different people, and we're all fucking, marrying, and killing people in different ways, and that's just what makes us human, you know. Beautiful. This was so fun. Thank you to everybody who listened to this full podcast. You really need to. This was so great. Let's do some plugs. Johnny, are you on social media? And if so, do you want people to follow you? And if so, where can they follow you?
I am. I'm on Instagram at JMIGALV, JMigalv. Everyone's got free will. They can follow me if they want to.
Yeah. Get on the close friends list for the true amazing content.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. I guess I made it up.
Slander, libel.
I only have a podcast to slander. Miles Potter, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, I guess. There's not always stuff there, but yeah, you can find me there. I just changed my name. It's at the Moss King, which is a long story I'm not going to get into, but so THEE Moss King. It's a dumb story.
Tell me that sometime. I saw that. I was like,
sure.
What is this? If you want to follow this podcast 616, we're on Twitter at podcast 616P3. That P3 stands for Press Play Productions. Thank you so much for having us. This longest conversation. You can follow me at Damon Royster on Twitter and Instagram. You can also follow me at Gay Frazier. That's gay with 2 A's. That's how gay it is. Producer Michael, if you want to hop on the mic, what letter grade would you give this podcast? I think it was really good.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite one. So A++.
A++. That's never happened before, everybody.
Wow.
Jesus Christ. Woo. You won't break my soul.
I'm telling everybody. Wait, can we sing "Break My Soul" as Aunt May?
Yes. This is how we're going to end this podcast. Thank you all for listening. Don't forget that with great power comes great responsibility. And now for your listening pleasure, You Won't Break My Soul, but from Aunt May's perspective, please.
You won't break my soul.
You won't break my soul.